Uh-oh.
YouTube is good, Kristen.
Are you sure? Okay.
Oh, here comes Kelvin.
Sorry, I'm late. I'm wrapping up something.
Alex, can you confirm that we're on YouTube?
Dusty.
YouTube is set. I'm in the English channel, so I can't hear.
Okay, perfect. All right, we can start.
You're coming through fine.
We have 4 attendees right now, 5. And do you want to go ahead and start and then share your screen for the PowerPoint?
Sure.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. So are the attendees present? I can't.
We
see there.
have another staff member, but we have 4 attendees, and I'm going to move 1 to panelist.
The reason I ask is they don't show up in my gallery or. Okay. Shall we start?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome everyone. Tonight we're having the environmental impact report scoping meeting for the general plan update, as well as the climate and environmental action plan. So we're conducting our meeting virtually tonight, and this is all in preparation for the environmental analysis for the general plan update that the City of Thousand Oaks is undertaking. So just want to give a quick introduction before I turn it over to our consultants. So the purpose of the scoping meeting is primarily to inform the community and affected agencies about the project, to let you know the components of the general plan and the climate action plan, then gather input from yourselves, stakeholders, about the topics that are covered in the EIR, and also describe the general time frame or timeline for and future opportunities for community input. So at this point, we're not doing any type of analysis or anything. We're asking for input on the analysis that would be initiated from this point on in doing the EIR. Just before we get into it, there are several housekeeping items. This presentation is being recorded for the record. And if possible, please submit all your comments and questions in writing to ensure adequacy of the record. Those can be done tonight or also within the comment period of the notice of preparation. Please hold your comments until the end of the presentation. Also, we do have a live translation is being provided in Spanish. So for those of you who are speaking, please speak slowly so that the translation services can be capture everything that we're saying. Also, click on the interpretation button at the bottom controls to choose the language that you would like to hear. And do not leave it off, or you may have periods of silence. So with that, I would like to turn it over to Anna from Rincon Consultants.
Thank you. Good evening. Just really quickly, what is our meeting format, our agenda? We're going to give you an overview of the general plan update process, and then again, the environmental review process. What the environmental review process would include in terms of scope and schedule. And after that, we will open it up to your comments or any input you may have on the environmental impact report. Next. So this is the scoping meeting for the environmental impact report for the Thousand Oaks General Plan. The location for this area, project areas, the entire city of Thousand Oaks, including the sphere of influence, which is the area marked in red. Next. Okay. What is the general plan? That is the overall view for how the city wants to develop over the next 20 to 25 years. And the general plan itself is still being worked on. The EIR will follow. The general plan will have a purpose and state the vision for the plan that the city would like to see in the next 20, 25 years. There are 12 topic areas that the general plan will cover, and these include land use, community facilities, mobility, arts and culture, noise, conservation, parks and open space, housing, sustainability, government, environmental justice, and safety. Also included in the general plan will be, under each of these areas will be policies, action items, or implementation items on how to actually move forward with the general plan topics. Next, please. The general plan, as mentioned before, will cover the entire city of Thousand Oaks along with the area under its sphere of influence. These are the different types of land uses that are being proposed under the general plan update. This information is also available on the city's website or can be found by contacting the planning department. Next, please. In addition to the general plan, there is also a climate action plan that the city is undertaking to update, and the EIR for this whole project will look at not only the general plan, but the climate action plan, which will address items such as greenhouse gas emissions, anything that is related to air quality and greenhouse gas. But the EIR, even though this is being done separately, in conjunction with the general plan, the EIR will analyze both the climate action plan as well as the general plan. Next. So what is the environmental review process for this planning document? The whole purpose of the environmental review process is to get your input so that not only are we doing the technical analyses for each of the areas to identify potential impacts, we're also looking at ways to either avoid or reduce these impacts. How we do this, it could be through mitigation measures. It could be when we're doing the analysis, we can mitigate, we can get an impact from severe, significant to less than significant. That will depend on the environmental analyses. But what the environmental impact report will do is present all these to the agencies and the general public so that everybody has the time and effort to present their ideas and their thoughts on the entire process. And there's also, so that we can get interagency coordination. For example, we will be coordinating with, let's say, Caltrans, because there are a number of roads that are running through the general plan area. But again, with the agencies, the public is also invited to participate and provide us with your input on the environmental process. Next. The topic areas that are going to be analyzed in the EIR are these 20 areas that are required under the California Environmental Quality Act. Some of these are probably going to be noted as not having any impact, such as mineral resources, but we do not know that yet. That will also come about as we do the environmental review of each of these 20 issue areas. These issue areas will include anything from aesthetics to agricultural resources, air quality, biological and cultural resources, energy, geology and soils, greenhouse gas emissions, hazards, hazardous waste materials, hydrology and water quality, land use, mineral resources, noise, population and housing, public services, recreation, transportation, tribal cultural resources, utility service systems, and wildfire. Next. So what is the environmental review process? The city has prepared the notice of preparation and made that available. As part of that notice of preparation period and the time period of review, this is the time for the scoping meeting, which means this is the time we would like agencies and individuals to comment on items they think the city should look at under the EIR. Once we get all that, the city will prepare the draft EIR. It'll file a notice of completion and have that available for public review, which is anywhere from 45 to 60 days. Once we get all the comments in, city will respond to comment, prepare final EIR. As part of the final EIR, there's going to be findings of significance, mitigation monitoring report, anything that needs to go into the final EIR so that can be presented to the city council so that they may make a decision and certify the EIR. Next. So the schedule, the NOP was mailed out and made available June 7th. It's a 30-day comment period. So this NOP comment period will go from June 7th, 2022 to July 7th, 2022. We are at the scoping meeting stage today on June 23rd, 2022. Once the NOP comment period closes, we will get to work on the draft EIR, which the city anticipates releasing sometime early 2023. Again, as mentioned, going through the process, the final EIR will probably get to city council sometime middle of 2023 to the end, then they'll make a decision by the end of 2022. So at this point, we will welcome any comments on the draft EIR, what the city needs to look at when we are doing the environmental analysis for the draft EIR. And to provide input, please use the raise your hand button. Unless you are asking a question, we ask that you please mute your microphone. And if you're joining by phone, you can raise your hand by pressing *9 on your phone and using *6 to unmute yourself. Once you do all that, please identify yourself with your name. And if you are with an organization, then that organization. Otherwise, if you are just a community member or resident, you can tell us that. And to ensure that everyone has a chance to speak, we would like to limit comments to 3 minutes. I think with that, yes. Additionally, you can submit written comments either electronically through the email, which is gp@toaks.org. That's gp@toaks.org. Or you can mail in your comments to Ian Holt, Senior Planner for the City of Thousand Oaks at 2100 Thousand Oaks Boulevard, Thousand Oaks, California, 91362. We ask that you please put Thousand Oaks 2045 General Plan Update in your subject line. I think with that, we should be ready to open up to comment. Okay, thank you.
Okay, are we ready for speakers? Okay, I just want to introduce myself. My name's Adrienne. I'll be calling out the names of the speakers that are listed as attendees here in the meeting. It looks like we only have 3 in attendance at the moment. That could change. And we're going to give 3 minutes to everyone to give their remarks. And I will call time at the end of 3 minutes. You will hear a timer beep at the end as well. We ask that you keep your remarks about the environmental impact report and not about the overall general plan. And as a reminder, please speak at a moderate pace. We do have an interpreter, and that will help her immensely. And our first speaker is Clint Fultz.
All right. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. My name is Clint Fultz. I am from Thousand Oaks, and I'm a member of the Conejo Climate Coalition. I'm sure many of you have seen me speak on the Zoom here in the past. I didn't exactly prepare anything for today, but we will be, the Conejo Climate Coalition will be submitting written comment before July 7th. You've probably heard our asks before, building electrification, photovoltaic power systems and battery backup, protected bike lanes, water conservation, and all those, a lot of those items there. We are concerned about the climate emergency going into the future, and we hope that our community can be resilient and look to the future and reduce our greenhouse gas emissions and create a more walkable community, a community that can hopefully withstand the extreme heats and the drought situation that we have now, as I'm sure everybody else is aware about that. And I'd like to thank the Sustainability Division for all that they do and having met with us in the past. And I think that is all I have for today. And thank you, everybody else who is at this meeting. It's really appreciated.
Okay. Our next speaker is Chuck Cohen.
Chuck didn't raise his hand, so I'm not sure if he wants to speak or not.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
There he is. Okay.
You can talk, you just need to unmute yourself. There you go.
Chuck, are you there?
Well, we can come back to you. We can't hear you yet, but we'll try you again.
Is it possible that he is in an off room? Okay. Well,
there's no extra room.
Okay. We'll move on to the next speaker, Kelly Goebel. And there's no hand raised there either. So perhaps she's not interested in speaking.
I've asked her to unmute. So you might get a pop-up on your screen. You would need to click that in order to speak. We could try going back to Chuck. Chuck, I'm going to ask you to unmute. There we go.
Yep.
But I still don't hear you. Chuck, I'm sorry. We don't hear you. and we only have one other speaker who has not raised their hand yet. So I don't think they want to speak.
That is all the attendees that I see on the list. There are many others who registered, but those are the only 3 that I see on the list.
Hi, this is John Dugan. If people can't speak, then you might want to encourage them to send in written comments in lieu of them speaking this evening.
So, yeah, thank you, John. Actually, Adrian, so if the 2 folks aren't speaking right now, why don't, just for the record, do you mind going over the registration list for those who actually registered and have not attended?
I'd be happy to.
Thank you.
I see, let's see. I see Karen Wilburn is registered, Victor Friedman, Nicole Katz, Elena Mishkanian, Aaron Kitzman, Natalia Staneva, Clint Foltz, who spoke earlier, Christina Duffy, Anthony Scott, and Chuck Cohen are all registered to, for this meeting.
Okay.
Seeing as there's no other speakers, oh, I guess we're going to give it a couple more minutes. We're just going to remind everybody that they can submit written comments either by email to gp@toaks.org or by mail to Ian Holt, Senior Planner at the Planning Division of the City of Thousand Oaks at 2100 Thousand Oaks Boulevard. And I think we're going to go ahead and just wrap it up for this meeting. Again, we'll take comments until July 7th. And that's going to be the end of the scoping meeting for the general plan update. EIR.